reacting to a Mr. Nightmare video. This is going to be called 4 Scary True Craigslist Horror Store, or Craigslist Stories by Mr. Nightmare. Obviously I can't talk today. You're going to hear my brother yelling and doing whatever noises he's doing. He's autistic, don't mind him. But yeah, it's called 4 Scary True Craigslist Stories by Mr. Nightmare. It's about 14 minutes long. Yeah, this is why I don't do videos in the daytime, because then it's like my brother, my mom could be here, my dad could, or whatever, you know. Anybody could be awake and doing all this stuff, which is why I do these videos at nighttime. Anyways, yeah, so this is a Mr. Nightmare video, 14 minutes. Let's go. And again, if you hear him, ignore him. I'm ignore my dad too. This is why I hate doing videos in the daytime. Ugh. Volume 6. Wow. See, Craigslist is not good. Scott Levine. Alright, well, let's see what happens here.
When I was 17 and looking to buy my first car, I was on Craigslist every single day. I wasn't looking for anything fancy, just a beater car that could get me from point A to point B. My budget was $3,000 at most, so the cars I was looking at were no newer than 03, 04.
Wow.
I found an ad one day for a 2002 two-door Honda Accord.
Okay.
It was listed for $2,000, and the mileage was under 80,000, so right away I knew I wanted to check it out. The person who posted the ad lived a few towns over from us, a 20-minute drive on the highway. I convinced my mom to drive me out there to view the car after conversing with the guy over the phone.
Okay.
Originally, I texted him asking for details, but he ended up calling me. He sounded basically normal over the phone.
Basically normal?
He answered some questions I had about the car and whatnot, and when he asked for my name and I told him Dan, he said, "Dan, what a great name. That's my name too." I laughed because it was the polite thing to do.
Okay.
I just found it to be such an odd comment.
That's probably not his name.
Everything about it. It almost sounded like he forgot his name was Dan because of the pause between "what a great name" and "that's my name."
Yeah, see?
It just sounded sketchy.
It's not his name.
Everything else about the call went fine. So the next day, my mom drove me to the address the guy gave me. Getting off the highway and onto the streets, right away we agreed this was a trashy-looking neighborhood. Bars on windows, graffiti under bridges.
Oh, sus.
I was hoping the guy's place wouldn't seem equally sketchy, but as we pulled up, it was. It wasn't a standard property like the rest in the area. The entrance to the property was between two houses. It wasn't a driveway, just some low-key road that led into an inlet with 2 more houses.
Like, is the car actually there?
Every house was cramped between other houses and buildings. But there I saw it, the Honda Accord, which was in, I guess, what you'd call the driveway for this house.
Okay.
My mom and I stepped up to the front door and rang the bell. We didn't know if it rang or not because we couldn't hear anything, so I knocked. One of the windows opened out of nowhere, and a man's voice said, "Come inside, the door's unlocked."
Excuse me?
I went to open the door, and my mom stopped me and whispered, "Are you sure you want to go in there?"
No.
I said yeah. I let ourselves in, expecting to be greeted by Dan. The inside of this place was kind of dark. Not a lot of natural light came in through the minimal windows. "Hello?" I said. "Yeah, over here," the voice called.
You over
It was
here.
a deeper voice than I heard on the phone.
Oh no.
"Dan?" I asked.
You're
"Yeah," he said. I began walking through the little kitchen, closer to his voice.
No.
My mom grabbed my shoulder and stopped me. She whispered in my ear, "We're leaving."
Yeah, your mom knows what's
The
up.
man's voice now came from beyond this door at the end of the kitchen. He called up, "Down here, we can do the transaction here."
Why?
My mom and I left the house in a hurry. As we were hurrying to my car, a lady at the next building over called to us. She came hurrying down from her front porch, warning us not to go in there. Then she asked why we were there, and we explained that I came to buy a car, but that he was calling us into his basement. The woman said that she's been concerned about that man living next door for months, that she thinks he's up to no good, and that he constantly has random cars pull up in the driveway in the middle of the night. We asked if his name was Dan. She said she wasn't sure, but that she vaguely remembered the guy introducing himself as Mike. She told us to just get far away from the house immediately, and so we did. It's disturbing to know my mom and I may have been murdered in that basement if we went down there.
Yeah, your mom
How
saved
would you
you.
do a transaction before even viewing the car or agreeing on anything?
Right? Yeah, I haven't
And
seen
her
the car
question,
yet.
why in the basement? The whole thing screams trap. I
Yeah.
don't know what else he could have wanted to do to us, more specifically me, in that basement.
It's pretty obvious he wanted to kill you. I don't know why, but I don't know if he knows you. Story 2 by Mass Huff. I don't know if I said that right. Sorry.
This actually happened to my best friend, Chris. His family had just bought a new TV, and they were thinking of just throwing their old one away. Chris's older brother, John, suggested to their dad, Rick, that they could sell the old TV on Craigslist to make some easy cash. Since the family never used Craigslist, John said he could set up the ad for him, since John's girlfriend used Craigslist before. So John put up an image of the TV with the
Not a good
description,
idea.
used 55-inch Samsung 4K TV for $200. He also put Rick's phone number so if anyone was interested, they could just call or text him. A week later, Rick got a call from a guy who introduced himself as Toby, and he said he was interested in the TV and wanted to know if he could come by the house at 10 o'clock that same night to pick it up.
No.
Rick said sure, and he sent Toby his address.
10 p.m.
Later that night, while Rick, Chris, and John waited outside the house for Toby to come so they could help him load the TV into his car, Rick got a call from Toby, and he said he wouldn't be able to make it to the house because he was almost out of gas. So he and Rick agreed to meet in the parking lot of a Circle K. After Rick got off the phone, him, Chris, and John loaded the TV in the back of Rick's pickup truck.
At least they got
took
3
off to
guys
Circle K,
versus the
where Toby
potential
said he was
1.
at, which was 15 miles away from the house.
Bruh.
When they got there, they pulled up in a parking space next to the gas pumps, where Toby was filling up his car, a black Nissan Altima. A few minutes later, a tall, heavy-set bald guy with a goatee walked over to Rick's truck and said he was Toby. He told Rick that since the TV was big, it would most likely not be able to fit in his car, so he suggested that they could just follow him back to his house, and Rick agreed with him.
Okay.
After a few minutes of driving on the main highway, they got onto a back road, which looked sketchy because there was nothing but trees on either side of the road. And
Don't get trapped here if you get killed.
Toby texted Rick and said his house was at the end of the road. When they got to the end, the place that was supposedly Toby's house didn't even look like a house at all. It looked more like a tall, abandoned building.
Oh no.
When they got out of the truck, Toby told them to untie the TV from the back so they could start unloading it. After they untied the TV, they turned around and saw 3 large men emerge from the back of the car. They all pulled out guns, including Toby. They threatened to kill them if they didn't give them all they had on them. Rick, Chris, and John didn't hesitate. So they all gave the guys their wallets and phones, and they obviously took the TV too.
Bruh.
After taking everything they had, the guys got back in the car and drove away.
Shit, that's why you don't...
Chris and John got home. Chris and John told their mom everything that went down, and Rick called the cops and told them the whole story, and even gave them the license plate number for the car since he memorized it.
Good, very good.
To this day, Chris's family never heard of any arrest being made. That was the one and only time the family ever used Craigslist.
Yeah, don't use it again. It's sus. It always has been sus. It always will be sus. Anonymous, yeah, this one's probably real then, because if they don't put a name to it, then it's like you don't want to be known, right?
Back in 2012, when Craigslist was more popular, I'd say, my house was broken into and robbed. A bunch of things were stolen, like 2 TVs, my Xbox 360, all of my video games, my hockey skates, and whatever stray cash I had laying around.
So
I had
annoying.
the police come investigate the house, but nothing that would help track the perpetrator, including fingerprints, was found.
Of course.
I gave them a list of everything that was stolen, but the cops in my county usually suck, and they didn't help at all. Now I had to replace everything that was stolen. Believe it or not, the most costly thing to replace would be the video game collection. But I was starting with the replacement TVs. I went to Craigslist, and there was an ad that was posted earlier that day for a 40-inch Panasonic TV for a low price.
Okay.
Panasonic was the brand I had, so I contacted the seller and drove to his house that night. He let me into his disgusting home. It reeked, and the stains in the carpets and general messiness of the place didn't help. He brought me to this back room where the TV was. I examined it, and it was the exact TV that I had in my living room that was stolen. Then I started to look around the room, and I noticed another smaller TV that was tucked in the corner of the room, as well as an Xbox. The smaller TV looked exactly like my other TV that was stolen.
So he stole your stuff, sold it on Craigslist.
Checked the bottom of it for the specific long scratch in the case that mine had. And there it was. That was my Xbox.
Oh my god.
That was all of my shit. I looked at the guy, who had a confused look on his face.
How crazy is that?
Dude, you're the piece of shit that stole my stuff. His expression changed. He played dumb and had an angry tone now.
Fuck.
He told me to get out of his house and lifted his shirt, exposing his gun holster. I live in Texas, so he likely had a license to carry. I left the house and called the cops. They arrived to the scene, but the man wouldn't let them in. He insisted they get a warrant and claimed that I was harassing him. I told the cops about my police report and the robbery and everything. They said they wouldn't be able to get a search warrant until the next day.
Crap.
I regretted not getting pictures while inside the room, but I wasn't thinking clearly in the moment. I was furious and I didn't know what to do. But that night, while I was getting ready for bed and doing research about search warrants, lawyers, and different possible outcomes to this situation, I heard a window break downstairs. Immediately, I knew it was him. Following my instincts, I climbed out of my window and down to the small ledge under my window.
Fuck.
From there, I jumped to the ground and ran to my neighbor's house.
Call the cops
My
right
neighbor
now.
let me in while I called the police. They arrived within 10 minutes. I handed the police my spare house key I had hidden on the side of the house, and they investigated the house again, guns drawn this time, and inside they found him.
Yes.
Hidden under my bed.
Thank
That's
God.
not terrifying. I don't know what is.
Under your bed.
And I said earlier
Fuck.
that cops usually suck. Yeah, this was the one time I actually loved cops here. And yes, it was the man who posted the Craigslist ad. He actually broke into my house to kill me that night, as he had his gun on him. And why else would he be hiding under my bed?
Oh my
It
God.
doesn't sit well with me, even to this day.
That
He
would
was found guilty of breaking and entering with intent to commit murder beyond a reasonable doubt, and was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Good.
Even
Bye.
still, I moved to a new town and changed my number. I tried to strip any possible trail that could lead that man to me when he gets out.
Right?
I'm sure he's out by now for alleged good behavior. That's the part that scares me the most.
That's terrible. I hate when people get out.
Over less than $1,000 worth of items. It actually makes me sick. I think Craigslist is one of the most dangerous places on the internet you could go.
It probably is, to be honest. I don't know why people go on there. Or like Kijiji's pretty sus too, I think. Another anonymous story. See, that's why I use it under anonymous. These are good ones.
I once answered an ad posted on Craigslist for a free mini fridge under the free stuff section.
Free mini
I was
fridge.
setting up what people would call a man cave in my basement, and I needed a mini fridge for under the bar to store beers and other drinks inside.
Okay.
I checked the address on maps, and the house was apparently waterfront, sitting over a tall cliff overlooking a huge lake. The person who was texting me said his name was John, but that he wouldn't be in the house, just his elderly mother.
Okay.
He told me when I got there I'd have to let myself in and go to the far right bedroom for the foyer, as his mom is hard at hearing and she's very slow.
So you're just gonna walk into a
For a
house.
second, what if instead of me answering this ad, it were a bad person and they totally took advantage of the situation?
Yeah, they easily just say, yeah, just go inside, go into this room.
Woman's house. Well, I coordinated a time with John to go to his mother's house. Around sunset, and I gotta say, as I pulled up to the long dirt path to the property, seeing that big house sitting at the top of the hill with the sun setting in the background over the cliff, it was beautiful. Before going into
that was
house,
like a nice
I
sight, to
admired
be
the view
honest.
of the lake below for a couple minutes. Then I texted John that I was there. He repeated his instructions to just let myself in and go to the room to the far right, as his mom would be waiting in the bedroom. He reminded me she's very old and I'd have to do all the lifting myself. I said that's fine. I entered the house through the front door, which was left ajar.
This sounds like
Right
a
away, I was hit with the smell of cotton. It reminded me of the smell of my grandma's house. I
cotton.
followed his directions and went to the door on the far right, which led me to a narrow hall. The house seemed rather large from first impressions.
Narrow hall.
As I went down this hall, the smell of cotton suddenly shifted to this horrible smell.
There it is.
Literally, it smelled like death, like a rotting animal.
Oh my
I
God.
entered the doorway at the end of this hall, and the smell in that room was unbearable. That's because of the dead, rotting corpse on the bed. It was the rotting corpse of an older woman. It looked as though she'd been dead for a week or two. I wanted to throw up. I suddenly heard a loud, maniacal laughing from upstairs, accompanied with stomping in place.
See?
It seemed someone
You're being
was in a
set
room
up.
directly on top of me, simply stomping their feet to scare me, and it worked. I ran out of the house to my car, looked at the house one more time, and saw a man at one of the upstairs windows.
Oh my
Then I
God.
realized there was another person standing at one of the downstairs windows, both of them wearing face masks, like the same kind of mask you'd wear now for the coronavirus. My phone started blowing up with texts all of a sudden, all of them in capital letters. The first text said, ha ha ha, followed by, we see you, look at the windows,
Oh
and
my
a bunch
God.
of emojis. The last text I got from him said, come back inside, you forgot your fridge. I drove off the property.
Fuck
While on my
that.
way home, I called the police and reported the dead body in the house.
Forgot your fridge.
After they investigated the house and apparently confiscated the dead body, which had no signs of any stab wounds or bullet holes, police arrived to my house for questioning. I showed them the whole conversation and gave them the phone number, which I warned them was probably a fake number, and I was right. But an officer named Boris told me they'd still be able to trace the number even if it was through some kind of fake number app. So, a week later, I was curious about the status of the case. So I called the police station, but the woman who picked up the phone didn't know any information. That or she didn't care enough to look for me, because in general she was just kind of rude. I never read about or saw anything on the news about an arrest being made regarding this. So to this day, I don't know if the people in that house were caught, or if they were even responsible for that woman's death.
I mean, if she didn't have any stab wounds or anything, it could have just been old age. And they obviously just knew that she was old. Like, I don't know, maybe they kind of like set it up as in, like, obviously they wanted to kill him or scare him or a prank or something, right? But then it's like, why the hell would you leave a dead corpse right there? That's why you said, you know, she's not going to really move, you know, she's old. So they obviously knew that she was already dead, and then it was just like a setup or something or a prank. So honestly, people who do that like are just sick. It's like you just want to get a TV, you want to get a mini fridge, you want to get whatever you're trying to buy. You don't have time for this shit. Like, you know what I mean? That's just people can be so fucked up and like make all these stupid jokes, and it's just like, fuck, man, stop. Like, why are you doing this? Like, I don't understand like why people are so dickish, if that makes any sense. I'm glad everyone in these stories were okay. Again, the mom in the first story or second story saved his ass, otherwise he would have been dead. And her too, if she followed him. But yeah, that's good that they left. I'm glad that that one guy got arrested when I was trying to kill him in the third story. That's just terrifying to me, because it's like, holy crap, like someone was actually trying to kill you. Like, someone breaks into your house, steals your stuff, you find it out on Craigslist. It's the same guy that broke into your house, you accuse him of it, you were right. You go home, she breaks into your house again trying to kill you. What the fuck? Like, what the actual fuck is all this shit? Holy crap, it's just so, like, I just so much to take in, and just so much, like, stress on you. Like, someone broke into your house, now you find it again, you're in that house, you're with your stuff right now with the guy that broke into your house, he came back to kill you. Like, oh my god. I'm really glad that guy changed his number and changed your name, frig, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's scary shit. It honestly is really scary shit how, like, some stuff is, to, like, how some people are and how some shit goes down, and just the extent of what people will do, like, if they find you or if they catch you or whatever you did to them, or I don't know. And like, you really got to be careful with people, because you don't know if it's a setup. You don't know, like, even on dating apps, like, it could easily be a setup. Like, you might be a guy looking for a guy looking for a girl, and then it's a guy instead. Like, you know what I mean? It could just all be fucked up. Like, please be careful using Craigslist or using whatever the hell you're using, dating apps, Craigslist, this and that. Anything, Kijiji, like, anything that you basically buy something used, like, from somebody, please be careful, because it's I'm not saying it's likely a setup. Like, just make sure there's no red flags. If there is, of course, be aware of that. Have backup or something. Don't go into the house alone. It's like, the first red flag is if they say come in. Like, if they just say come in and come into a room, then don't go in there. Like, you're gonna get fucking stabbed or something. It's so obvious. Like, oh, I'll go into the basement, we'll meet you down there for the transaction. Bitch, you can suck my ass. What the fuck? I'm not going in your house. You come out here and you bring this shit to me. Okay? Okay, cool. If you guys do enjoy this video, again, sorry for my brother yelling and making all these noises. That's why I'm trying to talk loud. I'm trying to talk more to cover it up. You can probably still hear it. My microphone's pretty decent, so fuck. Be sure to like this video if you guys did enjoy it. Be sure to comment down below any more Mr. Nightmare suggestions you have, or any other channel suggestions you have. And of course, let me know if you guys like this video in the comments below as well. Be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications, and that's really going to be it. After this video, you'll hopefully see a Horror Nights video, because I know you guys are really wanting that too. So I'll be back later on with a Horror Nights video, hopefully when he's not making noise, because that one's like a 20-minute video. I do not want to have to yell for 20 minutes, you know? So yeah, that's going to be it. I'll see you guys later. Deuces.